we choose our incarnations, but we don't choose them like going to the store and I prefer the green dress to the red one. It's not an egoic-based choice. Ego, which is a word that some people think of as the enemy, ego is the fact that we have an infinite dimension that is always there. We can call it the soul, we can call it the superconscious. We have lots of words, but we know what it is. It's the expanded part of the funnel. And that expanded funnel comes down to this little tiny thing and lives in this one body, and it identifies with that body. Who am I? You give your name, where you were born, and if you think about it, it's all about the body that you're living in. The reason ego has a bad rap, which it should, is because we become so identified with this single reality that we lose track of the infinite reality, and then we get super confused. We get terrified about dying. We think that all our support and everything, this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, comes from the world outside of us instead of from inside. So we're in the astral world. We go in and out of bodies exactly like we go in and out of clothes. When we die, we realize that we were wearing this body. This is what every death and return person tells you. I was never that body. I was just wearing it. And it's so, if people have never thought about it, they're so startled to realize that it's gone and I'm here. And then we go into the energy world. We have there's three levels of reality. The causal, which is the thought and ideas, the astral, which is energy, and the material, which is here. And it starts with ideas and then comes manifested. So we're in the astral world and we're having a really good time, but then there are certain longings and regrets. That's what causes reincarnation, longing and regret. Something I want, either because I didn't get it or because I didn't get enough of it. I long for it or regret, oh, if only I hadn't done that, I just need another chance. And so you come back. That's what keeps us on this cycle. It's sort of like we get restless. It's like I have lessons to learn, I need to get back to them. And it's not the ego self that makes that decision. Because the ego self, the ego likes ease and pleasure. When people talk the phrase good karma, bad karma means easy and pleasurable. Bad karma means challenging and difficult, even painful, even tragic. But we always say that's bad. But we think it's bad because it contradicts the ego's idea of what's good. But if this is where we learn, why is that bad? You see how confused we get? So we're in the astral world, we have things we have to learn. The bigger part of the funnel, which is our superconscious self, our guardian angel, our guru, if we have a guru, whatever it might be, they say, oh, look, there's a good one for you. You always wanted to marry that boy, and he just incarnated next door. Like that. And also, you can incarnate because you really hate that person. And so you also, hatred is also magnetic. So sometimes, I'll use Yogananda's very terrible phrase, sometimes enemies incarnate into the same family to fight it out in close quarters. That's how he put it. Because it has to be finished, Yeah, it's all very interesting, but wow. So the children who are being born know exactly what they're being born into. They know who they're being born into, not on the conscious level. Once they come in and identify with this body, they don't remember it anymore. That's why people are so surprised when they come out of their bodies. Oh my gosh. There's just this awareness that it was all so deliberate. I didn't know it was so deliberate. And here's where I have to disappoint mothers and fathers sometimes, but I still have to say it. This collapsing civilization like this one, and one that is going to be more turbulent and more violent, this is a great age to come in if you have some really extreme, wacky things you want to experience. It's a great age for awakening. It's also a great age for perversion and self-indulgence and greed and violence. So by no means are all the children that are being born into this time born to uplift it. Many of them are being born to tear it down. Because a whole lot of things get to be smashed between changing from matter to energy, because just vast systems have to be ripped apart, and that doesn't even speak of nuclear war. So, but they are being born for something, and many of them are being born to rebuild. So that once the whole tumult is finished, there'll be souls that have the attunement to come up. So yeah, there's a lot of really light souls, and there's a lot of really bad ones. Just bad ones. But I call them Divine Mother's rowdy children. Because we all have to learn from experience. Think about it. When somebody gives you good advice, do you listen? Not usually. And the only time you actually listen is when it resonates with what you already know. Divine Mother loves everyone equally. That's very annoying, but she does. We are all equal in the eyes of God. And we are literally children. I want nothing but chocolate cake, Mommy, from now on. And then Mommy says, honey, you won't grow up big and strong if you only eat chocolate cake. Child says, yes, I will. Like knows nothing, absolutely nothing. Yes, I will. Are we so different? I want this person, I want that, I want this job, I want this security. Divine Mother says, honey, you're not going to grow up big and strong. And you say, yes, I will, yes, I will. So we get to practice it. And, another horrifying thing that Yogananda said, he said lots of horrifying things. He said, if you no longer are inclined to do something, it's because you've tried it and you figured out that it doesn't work for you. And that includes, nuclear bombs and murder and theft. I was so mad at someone once, and somehow they were making my life unpleasant. It was less than a minute. But I thought if I just shot them and they died, everything would be so much better. And just for that, for that 90 seconds or 30 seconds, that's why people shoot each other. I just really understood it, because you're causing me so much trouble. If you weren't there, the trouble wouldn't be there. And I know that's not true, but for just a second, I thought it could be true. A lot of people who think violence is a really good idea, who think selfishness and greed and disregard and hurting people and war is a good idea. And a lot of people here who know it isn't. And whether or not, Yogananda said they're going to go all the way through. But this is exactly what he said. Those who love God will be protected. Because the purpose of the tumult is to wake people up to the need to understand that we are all part of a greater reality. And if I try to take my happiness at your expense, I will suffer. It does not, getting my happiness by taking it away from you, that is not the way to lasting happiness. If you know that and are behaving accordingly, then the karma won't hit you because you don't need it. But who it'll come now, it doesn't mean it's going to be an easy ride. Swami said, most of the time society is like a cigar, skinny at the ends and fat in the middle. Few bad people, a few good people, and everybody else just kind of hangs out and has a good supper and goes to bed, just what people do. But now there's just almost nothing in the middle. It's so extreme that you cannot be neutral. And I'm not talking politics. That's just the trivial manifestation of it. It's, are we part of a greater reality and we are responsible for each other? Are we instruments of light? Is there a divine power? Am I a superconscious being, inhabiting a body for a while? Or if I can get it for myself, that's what I should do. That's the dichotomy we're working with.